Welcome to this week's REI lesson. Today I'm going to talk about selling a house on the MLS. Why should you do it and how does it work? So if you're not familiar with me, I've been a full-time real estate investor for over 6 years now. I've done well over 170 properties at this point, probably more. I stopped counting a long time ago, but I still got a lot to learn. So the goal of this YouTube channel and podcast is to share with everybody what I've learned so far on my journey, so you can take what I've learned and apply it in your business, whether you're brand new or whether you are, someone who's been around the block who just wants to get more knowledge. So today's about selling houses on the MLS. So what is the MLS? The MLS is a system that is all over the country. I mean, there's different regions have different MLSs. It's called the Multiple Listing Service, and it's basically the database and the hub where all the realtors advertise their houses for sale. If you're the listing agent, or if you're a buyer's agent, you take your clients and you look for properties available on the MLS. So it's basically the marketplace for houses. When something is quote unquote on the market, they generally mean that it's on the MLS. So why would you want to do this, right? If you're flipping properties or if you're wholesaling properties, potentially depending on your state, why would you want to put your properties on the MLS? And the number one reason you want to do this is because you get the property out in front of the entire marketplace, right? So if you're a wholesaler and you don't put your properties on the MLS, and you can't put every property on the MLS, but you can certainly put some on the MLS depending on how cool the seller is. If you don't put it on the MLS, you're just showing your property to maybe 300-400 buyers who could be good buyers, who will certainly buy your property if it's a deal, but the pool of buyers is tiny. It's like you're playing in a puddle versus playing in a giant lake, right? If your buyer's list is a puddle, the MLS is Lake Tahoe. I'm just saying that because Lake Tahoe is 25 miles from where I live. I'm in Reno now. So when you put your property on the MLS, the most amount of buyers are going to see that property, right? You're going to get it in front of the most amount of people. What does that mean? That means that it's going to sell for the most money, because somebody seeing that house might think it's worth more than what you're trying to sell it for. And the MLS marketplace is very efficient, which means that if something is priced well, it will sell, right? If something's priced incorrectly, it won't sell. So the MLS is a very efficient marketplace that you can transact your properties on. And even if you're a rental investor, you want to put your rental units on the MLS, because that's where a lot of rental agents look. They look on the MLS because that's where the commissions are paid. So you want to consider putting your properties on the MLS if you're wholesaling, if you're allowed to do that. But obviously if you're wholetailing, which means you're buying a house, closing on it, and then putting it right on the market without fixing it, or obviously if you're buying a house, fixing it up, getting it really pretty, you definitely want to put your house on the MLS. So that is the only way I know that you're guaranteed to get the most money, because when you have a property and it's exposed to thousands, tens of thousands of eyeballs, everybody is going to flock to it if it's a good deal, right? Or if it's a well-priced property. I wouldn't say good deal if we're flipping houses, but if we're trying to sell our retail flip for the most money and it's priced right, the MLS will validate that. So how do you put your property on the MLS? Well, there's two ways you can do this. The first way is you can hire a real estate agent to represent you, and they can list the house on the MLS for you for a commission. Or if you're an agent yourself, you can just list the house yourself and you represent yourself. And the second option is you can use a flat fee listing service that is basically a real estate broker that has a service that allows clients to pay them a fee of $200, $300, $400. And in exchange for that fee, they're going to actually put the house on the MLS for you, and then they're going to give you all the phone calls, so they don't field the calls for you, because that's what a realtor would do. So, they're just going to put that house on the MLS for you under their license, and then all the phone calls are going to go to you as the investor or someone on your team. So those are the two ways you do it. You either hire a real estate agent, or you have a flat fee service, like I think listwithfreedom.com is one of the services I've used before, and they'll put your house on the MLS, and then you'll be able to get it out in front of the most people. And let me just end the video then with an example on the power of the MLS, right? So this was a while ago, but I remember this was an interesting property. So there was a property that I bought, and I knew that it was a decent deal because of the price we got, but it was kind of in an area which now is a great area. It was up in Gardner, New York, but it was not in a neighborhood. It was kind of on like a private road, and it was kind of off of a county road, and I was like, all right, this might be a decent deal. I don't know. Let's see what's going on. And was thinking about wholesaling it. I ended up deciding to buy it with a partner, and we ended up buying this thing. And because we put it on the MLS, we sold that property for way more than I would have ever thought. And I couldn't believe it because that property was on the market. It was in front of the most amount of buyers. Somebody who, saw the property, wanted to buy it, and they ended up fixing it up, I believe. But that property, if it wasn't on the MLS, I wouldn't have made the 60 grand I made, and I wouldn't have known it was a smoking hot deal. So that's the power of the MLS. Hopefully this was a helpful video. Takeaway for anyone watching or listening to this is get your properties on the MLS, especially if you're flipping or wholesaling. If you're wholesaling, you can do this sometimes. We actually just did this twice with buyers that we found on the MLS. So powerful strategy. If you're in Reno, Nevada, San Diego, the Hudson Valley, or Delaware, and you want to do a deal with me and we can put your property on the MLS, we can flip the house, or you can just wholesale me a house, whatever. If you want to do a deal with me, send me an email, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.